Hello students, have you ever wondered that how a rose plant produces a new rose plant if we don't use the asexual mode of reproduction? Have you ever thought that there are certain seeds present in your kitchen which can give rise to another plantlet? Right? Have you ever thought that the plants can also be a male plant and a female plant? Like in case of papaya, you have got a male plant and a female plant. In case of cucumber, you have a male plant and a female plant. Similarly, in case of maize, you have only one plant, but you have two types of flower, the male flower and the female flower. So let us explore more about flowers in this video where we talk about sexual reproduction in plants. Now for sexual reproduction in plants, the most important part of the plant is the flower. Okay. So when you talk about the flower, what is a flower? Basically a flower is a condensed shoot with the modified structures, that is all the leaves are modified into different whorls of the flower. Okay. So when you talk about a flower, let us talk about first what are the different parts of flower, then we go into the function of the flower. So when you talk about the flower, the first thing that you should know is this is the gynoecium. Okay, this is the innermost whorl of a flower, innermost whorl. The innermost whorl gynoecium has got the ovary and the ovary has got the ovules. Okay, this is how the ovules look like. Then after this you have got the next whorl, which is the anther, that is the androecium. Okay, this is the androecium. Androecium has got the anther and the filament. Okay, anther and the filament. This is followed by the another outer whorl, that is this is the petals. This is the petals or the corolla, and the outermost whorl, that is the calyx. Okay, this is the calyx. Okay, and in certain flowers you also have got small structure which is called epicalyx, and then you have bract, then you have got bracteoles. This we all study in the 9th standard. Okay. So now in this simple structure of the flower, the first part of the flower is the calyx, and the single unit of calyx is called the sepal. Okay. Then you have got the corolla. The single unit of corolla is called the petal. Okay. Then you have the androecium. Androecium has got the anther and the filament. This is together called androecium. This is together called androecium, which is nothing but the male part of the flower. This symbol is for the male. This is the male part of the flower. Similarly, when you talk about the female part of the flower, it has got the stigma, the style and the ovary. This is the ovule, and together this is called gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female part of the flower. The single unit of gynoecium is either called pistil or carpel. Similarly, the single part of the androecium is called the stamen. Is that clear? I hope this diagram tells you everything. This is the basic structure of a flower, a complete structure of a bisexual flower. There are flowers in which androecium is missing, only gynoecium is present. That is called a pistillate flower. If the flower contains only androecium and no gynoecium, it is called the staminate flower. If a flower does not have androecium and gynoecium, it is called neuter flower. Now you must be wondering, what is the need of a neuter flower? Now neuter flower, for example, the yellow part of the sunflower, that is a ray floret of a sunflower, it is a neuter flower, it does not reproduce. There is the brown color flower which is present in the center of the disc of a sunflower, that is the flower which helps in reproduction. So that is very small in size. So what is the function of a neuter flower or the ray floret of the sunflower? Is to attract the pollinating agent, right? Even in certain flowers, like you have seen bougainvillea, the pink color structure is not a calyx or corolla. It is a bract, it is a leaf like structure. It is colored because the actual flower is too small to attract the pollinators. So that is why it is colorful. So the entire different types of flower have different functions. Okay. So now this is all about flower. The process which is required for the sexual reproduction is the male part of the flower and the female part of the flower. So these two are called the essential whorls of the flower, and the non-essential whorls comprises of the calyx and the corolla. They are required for the safety of the plant, like calyx is required to protect the flower in the bud stage when androecium and gynoecium is getting matured, and the function of corolla is to attract the pollinating agent. So the process of pollination can happen, so the process of fertilization can happen, right. So the function is there for everything, but they are still called the non-essential whorls, and androecium and gynoecium is called the essential whorls. Then you have a concept of pollination. What is pollination? Pollination is a process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the flower. It is called pollination. So let us rub the board and I talk about the pollination. So next is pollination. So if you talk about pollination, pollination is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. So if I have to draw a plant, there is a plant, there is a flower. Please don't mind my drawing. I hope you are, this is just for basic understanding, children, okay? And there is another, I'll draw the leaves too. There is another plant with of the same species. It has also got flowers, right, and it has also got the leaf. This is plant 1 and this is plant 2. Okay. So when you talk about the process of transfer of the pollen from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the same flower, this is called autogamy. Autogamy is actually self-pollination, because it is the same plant which is being pollinated. Okay. Similarly, when the anther of a flower goes to the stigma of the other flower of the same plant, it is again a type of self-pollination, and the name of it is Geitonogamy. Okay. This is self-pollination. But when you talk about the transfer of pollen from one flower to the stigma of the other flower of the other plant but the same species, it is called allogamy. The other name is xenogamy, and it is a type of cross-pollination. Okay, it is a type of cross-pollination. Now, in cross-pollination, you need a pollinating agent. Okay, for cross-pollination, we need pollinating agents. Pollinating agents can be biotic, like insects, or it can be abiotic, like water and wind. Correct? So when we talk about the plant pollinated by insect, it is called entomophilous flower. The details are there in the description in the notes. Okay, so entomophilous flowers are the flowers which are pollinated by insects. So in order to attract the insect, the flower must have a larger petals. It should produce nectaries so that it can attract the bees, right? At the same time, the flower has to spend, or the plant has to spend lots of energy in making those brightly colored calyx and the nectaries, right? Another way, another pollinating agent is the abiotic factor, abiotic agent. Another pollinating agent is the abiotic agent, which is water and wind. When a plant has to be pollinated or a flower has to be pollinated by water, first of all it should be water resistant, it should be light, right? Best example is Vallisneria. When you talk about the Vallisneria plant is under the water, right? And it is under the water. It has got the male flower present at the base and the female flower is present on the top with the stigma. So now what happens when the anthers mature, it is produced, and being light in weight, it goes on the surface of the water. This stigma is present here, so it pollinates the stigma of the same plant. This is water Vallisneria. What is it? It is Vallisneria, right? Pollinated by water. Similarly, dandelion and all, if you see, is pollinated by wind. So it should be produced in a large quantity. It should be very light so it can be carried away by the wind. And the flower color is not important in case of water and wind. It can be white, it can be very small. There is no point of producing nectaries also. You understand? So this is all about pollination. You have to know the term. Autogamy and Geitonogamy are the type of self-pollination, where you have the same plant, but the flower can be the same flower or the different flower on the same plant. For cross-pollination, the flower has to be of the same species but of different plant. So that is cross-pollination, also called allogamy and xenogamy. The last part of this chapter is fertilization. So let me rub the board for fertilization. Before explaining about fertilization, there is a question. You know lotus? Lotus is an aquatic plant, right? What do you think, what type of pollination can be shown by the lotus? Lotus is a flower of an aquatic plant, but it is exposed in the air. So generally lotus is an entomophilous flower, that is, it is pollinated by insects. Okay, and one more thing, you know that Rafflesia is the largest flower. It is pollinated by elephants, right? So with this amazing fact in your mind, let us proceed with the last part of the chapter, that is fertilization. Now when we talk about fertilization, first of all let me draw the gynoecium. Okay, so this is the, I have to make it little bigger so that you understand. It has got the ovule. Okay, this is one ovule I have drawn. So now what happens, the pollen grain comes and sits here. If the compatibility match takes place, that is, the pollen belongs to the same species as this stigma belongs to, the pollen tube germinates and it goes to the opening which is called a micropyle. I will just write all this. Now this is the pollen tube that is going slowly and towards the micropyle. Okay, this opening is called the micropyle. Okay, now what happens, this pollen grain has got two types of nucleus. One is called the generative nucleus, and the other one is called the tube nucleus. Now the tube nucleus is produced here. Matlab, it just directs the tube to the micropyle and then it gets disintegrated or degenerates, and this generative nucleus produces two male gametes. male gametes are produced. Okay. Now these two male gametes are produced. This is the two male gametes which are produced, and these two male gametes are going for the fertilization process. Inside the ovule there is the egg cell, and this egg cell has got two sister cells which is called the synergids, and there are two polar nuclei present here, and there are three antipodal cells present here. So these three, there are three antipodal cells. There are two polar nuclei, and the pink one is the egg cell, that is only one, and the two are the synergids, that is the sister cells. Synergids, two synergids. Is that clear? All these cells which I have shown you, the two male gametes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cells in the ovule are all haploid. That is, they have only half set of the chromosomes and is denoted by N. Understood? Now we all are diploid. We have half set of chromosomes from our father, half set from the mother, making it a complete set of 2N. So we are diploid. Similarly, all gametes present here are haploid. Now what happens? The first male gamete fuses with the egg cell, okay, and it produces a zygote. This is the first fertilization process that has taken. Next step, what happens? These two polar nuclei fuses. Okay, and once it fuses, it produces a secondary nucleus. Now this secondary nucleus, as these two polar nuclei were haploid, N, the secondary nucleus becomes a diploid cell. Male gamete is N, female gamete is also N. The zygote formed is 2N, diploid. It will develop into embryo and the plant. Similarly, the second thing that is happening, now here what is happening? There are two polar nuclei which is fusing to form one secondary nuclei. This secondary nuclei then fuses with the second male gamete, which is what? This one, and then it gives rise to endosperm. Endosperm, what is that? This one is 2N, this one is again N, so endosperm becomes 3N, the only triploid cell present in the plant. Is that clear? So you can see here, since there are two male gametes fusing with the two female cells, it is called double fertilization. And in this double fertilization process, in one case, that is in the second fertilization, what is happening? Two nuclei fuses with the third nuclei. So there are total 3 nucleus which is getting fused to form endosperm, that is called triple fusion. Is that clear? Double fertilization and triple fusion. Triple fusion is basically a part of double fertilization. The first fertilization is the male gamete and the female gamete to produce zygote. The second fertilization is the fusion of the polar nuclei to form the secondary nuclei, and the secondary nucleus fuses with the female cell, produces an endosperm. Since a male and the female cells are involved, it is fertilization. And since 3 nucleus is getting fused, it is triple fusion. Why fusion? Because there are 2 female cells first getting fused to form the bigger female cell, that is secondary nucleus, which is diploid, which again fuses with the male gamete, fertilization, and produces endosperm. Is that clear? Any doubt, put it in the comment section, it will be answered. Right? So this is all about the process of fertilization. The union of the male gamete and the female gamete to produce a zygote is called fertilization, and you have got double fertilization in the angiosperms with triple fusion. Is that clear? With this, now with this we come to an end where we have formed the embryo. Now the question is, what will happen to the other parts of the fruit, what will happen to the other parts of the flower? Now as you see that the ovule becomes the seed and the seed has got the embryo, the ovary becomes the fruit and rest all parts withers away, that is dries off. Okay. So what is a fruit? A fruit is a ripened ovary. What is a seed? Seed is a matured ovule formed after fertilization. So with this we have the formation of seed. Now this seed will grow into a new plant. This is how a plant reproduces babies. How the plant produces babies. They are not called babies, they are called plantlets. A seed grows into a small plant that is called a seedling. So, a seedling then develops into, the seed germinates to produce the entire plantlet, right. So, this entire process of plant reproduction is explained in 2 videos. Go through the same. There is a self-assessment, there are notes given in the description. Go through the same. If you don't understand, put it in the comment section, and happy learning children.